So in Georgia, we typically talk about 6 different types of adoptions. The first type we talk about, and one that I'm doing an awful lot of, are what I call department adoptions. These are foster children that are being adopted out of a local county Department of Family and Children Services. These are children that are in foster care, and the department has decided, and the courts have decided, that the parents, the biological parents, are no longer a viable option to continue to care for the children, and ultimately their parental rights are terminated, and these children are then adopted, oftentimes adopted by the children they've been with, or the parents they've been with in care through foster care, and so these foster parents are able to adopt the children. It's a very satisfying thing for me to be a part of, because it truly is representing permanency for these children. It's a very satisfying process. The second type that we see a lot of, and that I do a lot of, are step-parent adoptions. Step-parent adoption is exactly what it sounds like, where a step-parent is able to adopt their stepchild. Obviously, the parental rights of the other parent, the other biological parent, have to be dealt with in some way. Sometimes we do that by them surrendering those rights. Sometimes we do those by actually terminating their parental rights as a part of the adoption. The next type of adoption we see a lot of are relative adoptions. Relatives can be a grandparent, it can be an uncle or a brother or a sister that's actually adopting the child. Again, the biological parents' rights have to be dealt with, and we deal with those in any number of ways in a relative adoption. And then we come to the fourth type, which is a third-party adoption. And all that means is the child's not being adopted out by the Department of Family and Children Services. It's not a step-parent or a relative. It's a third party. Sometimes you'll see that a child will be given up even before the child's born, or at least a new couple will be identified to care for the child. Maybe this is a mother with an unwanted pregnancy, something like that. Oftentimes I will go to the hospital and actually have the mother, and sometimes even the biological father, sign their surrender rights in the hospital right after the child is born. This is one of those types of adoptions where the earlier you talk to me or some other attorney, the better, because we can coordinate with the hospital to make things like that happen go much more smoothly. So if you find yourself in this situation, please contact me as soon as possible, so that we can try to make that process, dealing with the hospital, make that process go smoother. The fifth type is an adult adoption. Now, adult adoptions mean something significant to me because I've adopted 2 of my daughters as adults. The first adult adoption I ever did was my own daughter, and so I love adult adoptions. They are a little easier to do because there's much less paperwork that's involved in adult adoption. Some people didn't even know I didn't know you could do an adult adoption, but you can. An adult can adopt another adult with just the one adult signature. Consent, their agreement to be adopted, of course. The last type of adoption are really foreign adoptions. These are adoption of children that were born overseas in another country. Oftentimes those adoptions are actually completed in the country of origin for the child. But there is a step here in Georgia to have that adoption domesticated, and it's a wise thing to go through, to get a Georgia decree that says that, yes, we recognize that these parents have adopted this child in another country, but we recognize that adoption as well. So that is a brief outline of the 6 different types of adoptions that we have and that are recognized in the Georgia Adoption Code.